When shooting high ISO to capture indoor or night scenes like this, your images will suffer from noise and a loss of detail. In this video, you'll learn about an incredible tool for cleaning up noisy images and how to get optimal results from tough files. This is my original RAW in Lightroom. Now, in order to keep the details of the moving aurora as well as sharp stars, I had to shoot at a relatively short 6-second exposure and ISO 6400, which of course means that I've got a lot of noise in my sky. And if we open up our shadows, let's go bring up the exposure slider and take a peek. These shadows look horrendous, basically unusable without some serious noise reduction. And you might be tempted to just delete the image and move forward, but we're gonna be able to recover this and get to a great looking result without having to throw away this image, which is otherwise a very beautiful scene that I couldn't capture any other way. Now, I pushed things as far as I can already in Lightroom, and let me show you what I did there first. If I go click on this here, I've got a virtual copy, which I processed to get a great looking sky. I've got nice looking color across the image. As I zoom into the detail, the noise is pretty well controlled. You can move down to the detail tab and you can see in the original, if I turn off noise reduction, we had all this noise. And then after we've cleaned it up, and I would say that Adobe Camera Raw or Lightroom has done a nice job of cleaning it up. It's not pristine, but it's about as good as you can expect from an ISO 6400 image and still keep detail in those stars. So if all I cared about was the sky, then I might be happy enough with it. But the problem is, if we go zoom back a little bit and take a look at the shadow areas, this looks like a muddled mess, as if everything's moving around and artifacted and in fact still noisy. So it's not enough detail and there's still too much noise. So this just doesn't cut it. So at this point, I think I've got a good sky. The water, of course, is going to be good, but the foreground details are not going to cut it. And I could do something like simply, pull back on my shadows and just leave them pretty dark, but I'd like to have some detail here. I'd like to do something more with it. So I can process this image differently to try and extract more detail from the foreground. And one way of doing it is this virtual copy I created here, where I just simply reprocessed the noise reduction. I backed it off from that 75 to 50. And I certainly have more detail in these trees, but if we look up close, I still have a ton of noise and I still don't have enough detail. From this point, if I cut back on the noise reduction further, all I do is get more noise. I don't get more detail. And if I push back up that noise reduction, of course, I'm just losing detail and still ending up with too much noise. So I am at the limits of what I can do here in Adobe Camera Raw. I need another approach to improve on this image, and I'm going to reach for a plugin from DxO to do the job. So the way that this works is I'm going to go back to the library and I can select any raw images that I want to process for better noise and run them through the tool. I can run hundreds of images through at once if I want. I can multi-select files and folders and run them through. But once I select the files I want, and I just need one version here, I go up to File, Plugin Extras, Process with DxO PureRaw 2. That's where this plugin lives. So this is this third-party tool that I purchased from DxO called PureRaw 2. And if you have version 2 of the file, it will show up here in Lightroom. If you have version 1, you'll be able to do the same things outside of Lightroom, but you won't have the Lightroom plugin. So version 2 is the first version that has this plugin. So once you've selected your files, you just simply click on this process option here. And in a moment, it's going to pop up a menu of options. It's really pretty simple. Under method, we have high quality, prime, and deep prime. This is their latest, greatest AI, and it's the best one. You can think of this as sort of good, better, best. And deep prime is, in fact, even faster than prime. So there's really no reason to use anything but deep prime in my experience. So I would choose this. And then under optical corrections, you're going to open this up. You might not see global lens sharpening. Some images don't offer this. I'm not sure why, but if you have it, it's worth trying it. You can turn it on and see what the results look like. Sometimes I find that it's a little bit too sharp or artifacted, and I tend to leave it off, but it can improve the image. And in fact, sometimes it can even help with things that look like chromatic aberration. So it's worth playing with that. But I'm gonna leave that off here. The other one is this lens distortion correction. And I think this tool does a beautiful job of straightening out my wide angle images and cleaning up the corners. However, it's an AI, and AI is almost never perfect. And I want to take the result of this tool and blend it with the results from Lightroom. And the only way I can do that is if the pixels align, and they won't align if I turn on the lens distortion correction. So I'm always going to leave this off. And then I can do the distortion correction here in Lightroom for both versions, because this is going to output just another DNG raw file, and I can use the same Lightroom corrections on it. So just leave these off, maybe experiment with the lens sharpening. Then we have the format. You should never use JPEG, just always use the DNG. And then the destination folder, you can either send everything to the same folder or a DxO subfolder of the original images folder. This is the way to go. If I select, let's say, 10 different folders to process an entire trip at once, I want each subfolder to have its own DxO subfolder so that the new version sits with the original. So I think this is the way to go here with this first option. And that's it. We just click process. It's going to process this image for a little while. And then when this is done, it's going to appear as if nothing happened. There won't be any change here. Lightroom just sits there for like half a minute doing nothing. It won't have a progress bar. And then miraculously, the result's going to pop forward, and I'm going to jump forward to that moment. So after what felt like an eternity, it was probably 30 seconds, the result has popped up at this new DxO subfolder, and we can see the results here. If you ever get impatient, you can always try and right click and just force it with synchronize folder, but I just generally find it takes a little while to show up. So I'm going to select the parent so I can see both the new version that I have here, because it's showing me the subfolders, and then I'm going to command click on the best version I had for the foreground so I can compare the same image side by side with the two different methods. So I'm hitting C to compare, and on the left you can see in the name, this is the DxO PureRaw version with deep prime on the left, and on the right here is the best version I had before for the foreground. And immediately, without even zooming in at all, you can see that this is a much better looking version of the image than this is here. It's cleaned up really, really nicely. Now, if we zoom into the detail a little bit here, you can see that overall, there is new detail and a substantial reduction. All this noise here is gone. This is, again, not a perfect flawless version, but it's a very usable, very nice looking version of the image. Whereas this, I think, is kind of toast, and I just have to process it dark if I wanted to work with this image. So we've recovered a tremendous amount of detail very simply by using Deep Prime. Now, probably half the time I use this tool, I might just simply call it quits, just process this image and call it a day. However, half the time I need to go in and make some corrections, and this is definitely one of those times. There are a handful of issues here where I'm going to have to do some additional fixes. If we zoom in a little bit closer, let's take a look at the trees here. You can see there looks to be something like chromatic aberration on these trees, and that is an issue we're going to have to fix. And as we move across it here, on the left-hand side, you can see this looks pretty strange. What's going on there? I mean, the original looks clean and fine, but this has this weird coloration, and that turns out to be a local adjustment brush, which gets mangled because the color reduction settings are different here. So both this and what appeared to be sort of chromatic aberration here, they're actually stemming from the same issue. I'm going to hit D for the develop module, and I'm still on this DxO Deep Prime version here. And what we can see is that I've inherited my slider values from the original. Now, you might not see this. Your image might actually look like the original RAW. It depends whether or not your slider values are embedded in your RAW or in a sidecar XMP file. If you use sidecar files, then changes you've made prior to running Deep Prime will not be carried over here. So you might see everything kind of zeroed out, in which case you just go to the version you're working on, copy, come back here and paste, and you'd fix that issue. But even if things carried over, there are a couple things that Deep Prime or PureRaw 2 is never going to bring over. And that is anything in this detail tab and the lens corrections, because it's trying to fix chromatic aberration. It's trying to fix color noise. It's trying to fix luminance noise. It's trying to enhance your profile corrections. Even if you turn off the option, it will not bring over your profile correction. So you are probably going to have to sync up some version of these settings. You can copy over your profile corrections. You can bring over the remove chromatic aberration. The sharpening and noise reduction, however, you're probably going to have to treat a little bit differently because this is no longer the same RAW file. It's still a RAW file and has all the benefits of RAW, but it's different. I mean, if you have an image and you normally set your color noise reduction to 0, this would look like some kind of weird colored checkerboard. Whereas with the Deep Prime version, it's already improved that color noise for you, and it's just simply turning it off. But it turns out there's actually some real value in some additional color noise reduction for these areas here. And if I bring up the color noise reduction, you can see that those areas go away. They're really not chromatic aberration as much as they're color noise being expressed in kind of a strange looking way. Now, as I brought up that color noise reduction, these trees lost some of their luminance. You can see in the original, they look pretty lively and interesting. And as I bring it up to, I don't know, the minimum, whatever is going to get rid of that, it seems to be, 25 to 40, these look a little lifeless. So I need two versions of this to clean up these trees without losing the beauty there. So let's set this to 0 and create a derivative copy of this. So I'm going to right click and choose to create a virtual copy. Let's undo that and just select the 1. So I just want the deep prime, and I'm going to create a virtual copy of it. And on this one, this is where I'm going to go and let's see what chromatic aberration does. And you see it doesn't really help the problem. Let's bring up the color noise reduction until that problem is gone, just the minimum to get rid of it. So something like 45-ish here cleans that up. Now, as I do that, if we go back to the left here, you notice that this problem kind of also went away too. If I go and turn off the color noise reduction, you can see all those issues versus after it cleaned it up. Well, what's going on here is that I had a local adjustment. You didn't see my original edit, but there is a brush here. And if I go click for my masks and hover here, you can see I brushed in an adjustment. If I click on it, what I did is I made it cooler, a little greener, and darkened through highlights and whites to address an underlying issue, which if I go and just hide this for a moment, that was the problem. The underlying tree was yellow enough, is causing this kind of yellow glow in the image, and I wanted to get rid of it. It was apparent in the original, and I fixed it. But then upon importing it, once that color noise reduction got zeroed out by DxO here, then the adjustment no longer made sense. So I had to tweak that. This is not a common issue you're going to run into, but just something you should be aware of, that the lack of color noise reduction can come up in some weird ways here, and probably more likely something like these trees. And that's just, it's always going to be at 0 unless you set it or go back and manually copy from another image. Now, with these, I think we've addressed that. There's some other things that I would like to address. So we've got these two versions here where we've cleaned up the chromatic aberration, we've kept this color, but the stars I find with Deep Prime are not always the way I want. And let's just compare them. We've got our Better Sky version here. I'm command clicking to compare these two side by side. And let's go just look up at the stars here by hitting, C, to compare side by side. And you can see here's Deep Prime on the left, and here's the original on the right. And the coloration in some ways is better. Some of these stars are getting a little too blue for me. And the other thing that happens is these stars that are pretty minor, they start to become pretty bright stars here. It's extracting too much detail. It's doing too good of a job. For me, like the lesser stars here, I prefer these versus here. Every star is kind of a prominent star. It starts to get a bit busy. And so there are facets of this that I like, but I probably, enjoy this version a little bit better. So I'm just going to blend some version of these two in Photoshop to get a better looking result. And I'm just going to move around, see if there's any other issues of concern in the sky there. And you can see here, these little artifacts. It's sort of taking very minor things and making like little comet trails behind the stars or things that are almost stars. Here, these stars in the cloud are more subtle, which I think looks nice, versus here, they're too bright. So overall, I could probably just use this original sky and say that's a better version. So I think I've got my game plan here. I'm going to go and grab the images I need. So I've got my two different versions from Deep Prime, and then I've got my better looking sky version. There's nothing in the Lightroom version of the foreground that I liked, nor anything I need from the original. I'm going to just click on these and just kind of cycle through and make sure that they're aligned, and they're not. You can see that change in the image there. And what's happened is my distortion correction did not get carried over. So this is my original process version for the sky. And in the develop module, I have the remove chromatic aberration as well as enable profile corrections with this distortion and vignetting. So I need to take this and copy it to the other two. So I'm going to hit Command C to copy. And let's just grab the things that we need. I'm going to say check none. Let's go grab the distortion. I don't need to bring over the vignetting. If I do that, there's already some vignetting correction in these, and it'll just double up. So If I have to do it, I'll do it manually. And I'm going to copy the profile corrections, the chromatic aberration. I think it's always good to do that. So we'll say copy and just key over to the first deep prime version, hitting Command V to paste. And that did not come through. What I do here, let's go back, copy. Oh, I need to enable the profile corrections. The distortion is actually the slider value under it. So we'll copy this that way, come back, hit Command V to paste. Now it's pasted in the corners. You can see the vignetting is pretty bright here. And so that did get kind of pulled over from the original, it looks like. So I'm going to bring this down to something like maybe 10. And I'll just copy this with Command C. Let's pick up the vignetting and bring it over to the other deep prime version here. So here's the other deep prime, and I'll hit Command V to paste. And so now I'm just going to hit the arrow key to go through each of these, and we can see that they are properly aligned. I've got two versions of the sky, one with issues here around the trees, two versions of the foreground, one with the tree issues and one where I've got the better color here. And then we've got our cleaned up sky version from the original here. So with that, let's go and right click, choose Edit In, Open as Smart Object in Photoshop. So I'm going to keep all the raw and send all of this over to Photoshop for blending. I now have my 3 smart objects open in Photoshop. If I want to confirm that they're raw smart objects, I can go to the Basics tab in Lumenzia and see that the raw button's lit green when I have my smart object selected, which it is. So I'm good to go, and I just need to figure out what order to blend my layers. This is definitely my sky layer. It's not labeled deep prime, and it's got the bad foreground. So this to me should be an upper layer. And it's a question between deep prime 1 and 2. And I think 1 was the first version. If I zoom into the trees, yep, they've got the bad color. So this, to me, should be the base of the image. So I'm going to go grab this as my chromatic aberration correction layer. I'm just calling it CA. Let's copy it, paste it over here. It's not really chromatic aberration. I can close that. And then let's go to the sky layer. It's Command C to copy. Go over, Command V to paste, and we can close that version. And let's just give these black masks. If I alt-click for a new layer mask, it's black to hide it. Alt-click for a black layer mask to hide it. And I can blend these in. And let's just quickly rename these. This middle one here is for chromatic aberration. And the top layer here is for our sky. And so then with that, I think I'm ready to begin blending by selecting my layer mask here, where I'm going to go and zoom in. And let's just fix these color issues by hitting B for our brush. I want to make sure I've got high opacity, low flow, and white paint. Make my brush a little bit bigger and just brush in here. Don't need any special selections or anything fancy. It's a very simple thing to hit this target because they're relatively well-matched layers as is. So I look across here, there may be a few little areas where the middle of the trees might improve a bit. And then I know I've got that wonky little blotch over here from the original mask. Let's go make sure that's fixed. And I think those are looking good. That's probably all I need to do with that layer. Now for the stars, let's just zoom in and kind of compare where we are with deep prime versus if I shift click, and you see this is what we'd get out of Lightroom. And I kind of like some aspects of both. So I'm thinking I'm just going to blend them kind of 50-50. Let's just select this layer and just set the opacity down to 50% or so. And now we're getting, some improvement there. I think it's a little bit better version where some of these stars are getting a little bit too bright and improves that. But of course, I don't want to put this down on the foreground. I only want this in the sky. So let's, actually, I'm just going to delete this mask. I'm going to create it in one fell swoop by clicking sky in the basics panel and just say, yep, let's just create a layer mask. So it'll give us a sky mask. So I didn't really need to do that in this case. And we've got a perfect sky mask. We can just zoom in and let's just see how we did overall. I think we've got really nice, clean looking sky. The detail in these foreground areas looks great. That is a vastly better image. Now watch this next video to learn other ways to tackle tough, noisy images.